Her Journey to Healing, Reaching Women with a Desperate Cry is an 8-week Zoom seminar in which Kamala and Winston help women to start living their best life by rediscovering the image of God in their life. Kamala, a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins her husband of 16 years, an ordained pastor, to marry the clinical and the spiritual. You will begin living your best life filled with love, joy, and peace. Register at kwministries.net for this life-changing seminar.
So anxious resistant. So remember there were 4 categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anxious resistant kids were on the opposite end of the spectrum. They didn't have a lot of self-confidence. They really clung to their caregivers, whether it's parents. When I say caregivers, I mean parents, grandparents, just old people in their lives who were, really part of that initial bonding experience. For these kids, they tended to have really exaggerated emotional reactions to stuff, but they also kept the distance from their peers. How did this translate into adulthood? That translated into anxious, preoccupied adults. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of formed less secure bonds with partners and feel really desperate for love and affection.
God is patient. God is kind. God is long-suffering. God never fails. God always hopes. God always trusts. God always perseveres. God doesn't envy. God doesn't boast. God doesn't seek his own, but is always seeking what's best for you. God rejoices in the truth.
That's right.
God doesn't define love. God demonstrates love.
What I find most fascinating is a children's book. A children's book written by none other than a child, Ariana. With this book, she talks about her journey to healing, and she wants to reach children with a desperate cry. To me, that is so mind-blowing because, again, as children, we are impacted in ways that we sometimes haven't dreamt of, right? Whether it's, we were muzzled as children, whether we were not hugged, we were not loved, whatever those situations are, and we did not deal with them. And guess what happened? We grew up to adults and we bleed out on the people around us. So if we can address these things as children, OMG, can you imagine what a beautiful world that would be?
There's a commercial that used to say, "Don't leave home without it." I think it was MasterCard. And at the end, they would say, you couldn't put a price on it. A price could not be put on what you and your wife did for me this week. And I'm just praying that your ministry will continue to be the blessing to others as it has been to me this week. Just the opening of the eyes, just seeing God's word with a whole different set of lenses, just understanding what is required of us and laying aside the misnomers, the erroneous teachings, the errors, and just accepting who I am in Christ. And no one else could tell me who I am but the Word.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with us all week long.
Thank you for being there with us.
Right.
Good evening, everyone. Winston, you are muted. We are excited to
Good
be here
evening,
with you.
everybody. Good evening. Good night, Sister Glennis. Good night, Taryn.
All right. I see that we already flipping birds. I love it.
Yes, 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 yes. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome. It's Monday night, and because it's Monday night, you know it is time for Monday nights with KW, where we just talk, chill, and hang out. And Kamala reminds us every Monday night that this program comes out of our own pain, out of our own journey, and how we are learning to heal, and how we're learning to connect, and how we're learning to enjoy life with each other. And so what we do is we get together and we just talk with people about their journey and about their life, and we have fun doing it. We have lots and lots of fun doing it. How are you, Kamala? What's going on for tonight?
As usual, got a great, but you already know if I'm talking, I'm going to remind you of a couple of things. Is also that one of the reasons we are here is to open up the shop.
That's
And
right.
tonight, I wanted to bring something to you guys' attention that we haven't talked about as much as we have some of our other products. Now, you already know we've got our devotional series, The Journey Begins, The Journey Through Spiritual Warfare, A Journey Through Revelation. Look, it's Jesus, A Journey Through the Gospel of John. And you may notice that on almost everything that we have, we keep talking about this journey, a journey to healing. My Journey to Healing, Ariana's book, Reaching Children with a Desperate Cry. The Journey to Healing, Reaching People with a Desperate Cry. Coping Skills to Heal. You keep hearing that language, but I don't know if many of you know about the Journey to Healing, Reaching People with a Desperate Cry seminar series. Yes, indeed. We actually have a whole seminar that you can be part of. Tell you a little bit about it. So let me give you some sneak preview. If you've checked out any, if you are the lucky people who has either won a book, bought a book, and a book as a gift, you might notice that each and every one of these, most of them, talk about this 8-step process, right? Who we are in God, and we know. So we talk us walking who you are, the that you can ask in person. You can go online and do it there, or you could just purchase one of our seminar guidebooks. So that's a part of what we offer, and it's really about walking together this journey of healing and learning who we are in God. So I wanted to just kind of bring that to the fore because we don't really talk about that one as much.
Um, Kamala, I went on the website today, and guess what I saw?
What's that?
I saw Anna Kay has placed gift cards on there. So if you have somebody that you would like to get one of our products to, you can actually go on there and get them a gift card and send it to them.
So we all kinds of ways for you. What's on our website, guys? So don't hesitate. At the bottom of your www.kwministries.net/shop. You can navigate there anytime during the program. We will not lose you because guess what? It is there too. So don't hesitate to check out the site. Um,
Awesome. Mala, let me just share a few quick things about our upcoming guest on Monday
mhm.
night coming. We're going to have Dr. John Hall again. He last time he was
Part
with us.
two.
Part two. We had such a wonderful time. We were trying to get him back the following week, but we were unable to. But he's graciously accepted to be with us on Monday night coming. Then, Kamala, we have some really good stuff. A few Monday nights from us. We're looking forward to having Adrian McCollum. Adrian was addicted to cocaine, and he's now a local elder. As a matter of fact, he's one of my elders. We're going to have him on. And then we are excited because we're going to have on Jamie Gore. Jamie Gore has a chronic disease where if he doesn't get treatment, he dies. Mm-hmm. But I haven't met someone who is literally living off of treatment he'll tell you his story, but he's so positive. He's so, you hear him preach. He's so energetic. He's so positive. We're really excited. But tonight's guest is what I'm really pumped and excited about. Tonight's guest, Paulette Griffiths-Greene. That's my aunt. And she has an amazing story. And so I'm inviting us. Oh, wait, before we go, what are we giving away tonight?
I'm already on top of it. So tonight we are giving away, we've got actually two things that you can be in the runnings for tonight. I don't know if you can see this one. It's our sickle cell activity book. Now, if you remember a couple of months ago, we had the one and only Elle Cole on her program, and she was walking us through a journey through sickle cell. And one of the things that she talked about was her internship. She talked about being able to educate kids, adult pain, this product line. So we are giving away this is kind of a knowledge-based book for younger kids who are going through sickle cell, and of course for parents to navigate or family members, as well as an activity book, the sickle cell activity book. So we're giving away both of those tonight. And if you've been with us for a while, you know how this works. How you get in the running for our gift is that you got to comment. And I see everybody popping up. I see you, Kenny, Doreen, Taryn, Hilbert. I see, who else did I see earlier? I saw Glennis. So you guys are already in the running. So if you want to win a gift, even if you're going to give it to somebody else, if you want to win a gift tonight, how you do that is to stay with us, comment, share, ask questions.
All right. Excitement. So tonight, I have with us Paulette Griffiths, and we're in for a treat. This woman is a social worker. She is a hard worker. She holds 2 master's degree. She has an amazing family. Her daughter I had a conversation with her daughter, Gabby, and I was just, oh my gosh. I was just so impressed. Married and just a wonderful individual who has an amazing journey. And so I believe I keep messing up my aunt's name. It's Griffiths-Greene, who has an amazing journey. And as we talk tonight, I believe that somebody's life is going to be the better for it. All right, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, my Auntie Paulette will be with us.
Hi.
Listen, no. You see, you're not going to do this. You're not going to act nice. You're not going to act nice. Okay?
Look,
Okay?
I put on my Michael hat. I'm a
No.
Micronian. Put on the hat.
We're family, and we're just going to have a good time. We're just going to talk.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Auntie, this is where I want to start. You're going to be writing a book.
Yes.
How will that book start?
So it starts with telling who I am. And in telling who I am, you have to know where the root of whatever it is that you're telling, where is it stemming from? And so, growing up with my mother, um, I feel like a little repository where all data are stored. At a very When I spoke to my older sister, she and I told her what I could remember, she said I was 3. And so since then, based on what I saw, it made me extremely sensitive, but it also made me gather knowledge, and it made me understand early why. And so I've used the fishbone diagram that you learn in business, and you do that 5 whys, and I'm like, why this happened? And I try to understand. And so telling my story, I can go as far back as Mama's mother, Maud, and this is my grandmother. And telling my story begins with my grandmother.
All right. And we're coming back to that. So we're coming back to ask you to explain to us the fishbone diagram. Don't yet,
Okay.
not yet. But what I want to ask you next is, how will the book end? So the book is going to start with who I am, and I want to take you back all the
Yes.
way to my grandmother.
Yes.
And we're going to come back there. But tell us
Yes.
how this book ends.
Okay. So I'm a Micronian, and when I didn't understand what I was at Michael, I remember one year when the first year the Reggae Boys qualified for the World Cup, and there was a prayer, and the pastor, he said, "Find your purpose." And that year I attempted suicide for the 5th time, and I felt like I didn't know why I was. Um, and so I wrote my obituary in order for me to survive, because I need to know when I leave, even though I didn't know my purpose yet, when I left this earth, I want to know what my contribution would be. And I wrote in my contribution that I would be called Doctor, whatever my last name was, and I have to include my father's name, which is Griffiths. But that's my foundation. So I had doctor, and I wrote my obituary and started backwards.
Mm.
Oh man, come on! I'm so happy I asked her that question.
Yes,
Isn't this gonna be fun?
yes.
I have
So
so
I'll be a doctor. I'm a servant leader. I
yeah.
help people to understand who they are, why they are who they are, and how you can use who you are as a strength. Because everything is strength. Everything is strength. Um, to see it as a weakness is negative. I see it as strength.
Mm.
Yes, and so that's
So come on, did you hear my aunt said that in the process of thinking about committing suicide,
Mm-hmm.
she writes out what she wants to have been known, what she wanted to have been known for,
Mm-hmm.
realizing that that purpose had not yet been fulfilled.
yes.
That gave her energy.
I actually attempted suicide,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the 5th time, and nothing happened. And I promised God, I said, I don't know, but knowing how I came to be, how I was born, it must have been a reason, why after the fifth time, before the five suicide attempts, I used to sit. My father died 2 days before I was born, and I used to sit because Jamaican people say if you call Duppy, they will come for you. If your family see you suffering, they come for you. And I used to sit and call my father, ask him, please come get me. It was that bad, and he didn't come, so I
Mm-hmm.
had to rely on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw all that Mama was going through, and so it was too much. But then when nothing happened, I said, okay then. And so I cannot remember the name of the pastor, but he said, find your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, well, since I attempted this suicide and I was in college to become a school counselor, I was in darkness called a marriage. Um, and then I have this very good friend, Kim Sue Bryan. Um, she gave me a cassette by Les Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And Les Brown said, in the graveyard, all the talents are buried. Because
Mm. Hold on,
um,
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Anake, you gotta put that up. You gotta put that up, Anake.
yes,
In the graveyard.
many
Oh.
talents are buried
Mm.
because people are afraid to put themselves forward. And he told his story. And that is how I wrote my obituary, and
Mm-hmm.
I moved backwards from that. I said, okay, God, so since you make me survive, um, I guess, you know. And so I started to memories that I'd suppressed from childhood.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was I used to go to school. Absenteeism was such a big deal. I would go to school September morning,
Mm-hmm.
then probably don't go back again until January.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know the season had changed because the blossoms were different.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this one teacher made the class stand up and say, good morning, Inspector Griffiths. It mean like school superintendent here. And she made the children stand up and say that to me. And I don't know if you've ever been so ashamed that you just have a grin plaster on your face.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a grin because your soul is dying inside. And I
Mhm.
felt my face hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered that. And that, I was in my second year of Michael. And that is when I said, I'll be the best school counselor. And
Mm-hmm.
some of the memories I'd suppressed, like one where my mother had gone to Enid Bennett, the MP for our area,
Mm-hmm.
and went to her and she asked for help. And Enid Bennett was doing what she could do. She tried to put her on a list, which in Jamaica they call a poor list, and
Mm-hmm.
it made my mother so angry. And I was almost five, but I could feel my mother's shame. All those memories came flooding back.
Mm-hmm.
And once I had those as rung on my ladder, I was able to flourish in college because then I knew what my purpose was.
Oh,
I'm a
wow.
helper. And a
All
little
right.
girl like me who didn't have any voice, I try to give them voices. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right, Mom, let's go through this journey.
Let's go through it. I'm always so fascinated with what gets people going, their history, and how they've taken that history and turned it into something different, better, new, changed, however you want to phrase it.
Yes.
That's always such an interesting place to start. And I heard you say a couple of things that a lot of where you are now came from a place of being able to look at your past experiences and
Yes.
realizing this is why, and I
Yes.
understand this
That's the word.
why, and
Yes.
here's what I can do with it.
Yes.
So I know you mentioned some of these memories. Thinking back to not even getting the opportunity to know your dad, but having this experience of wanting him to come and take you away from the circumstances
Yes.
that you were in.
Yes.
Can you tell us just a little bit about your early start? What was life like?
Why was it
Who,
so bad?
who was Paulette, and what was going on in that early
Okay.
part of your life?
So it's hard for me to tell my beginning without telling my grandmother's beginning, because that's where it started.
Okay.
So my grandmother, as my mother told me and her older sister told us, uh, for some reason she had to go work as a living domestic helper with this pastor on Brunswick Avenue in near Winter Pen, and she was a young girl, and she was helping him to take care of his children. He was a pastor, and for some reason she ended up being pregnant for him, but she was just a girl. My grandmother ended up having a few other children afterwards, and then she met my grandfather, which is my mother's mother. My grandmother is dark skinned. Um, she's part maroon as far as I understand, and my grandfather, they are light skinned, closer to white. A lot of them are white, and so she was not accepted in his family, but she had four children, which my mother was the last child. I don't know, because I know my grandmother's family, and she's the only one I know have mental health issue. And you wonder if the rape and then the not being accepted had anything to do with it. But she died when my mother was 6. So my mother went to live with her father's family, but they were white, and my mother was not really accepted. So she was treated like the maid, and atrocities. When my mother tell you the atrocities that happened to her, and it, to me, looking at my family and understanding family dynamics, it caused my mother to have that unstable beginning, because her mother died when she was 6. Her father loved her, but he died when she was 17. So her older cousin took her to Kingston and made her into a maid. The cousin's husband had her like a sex slave. She ran away, but they just come back to the country and take her back. Um, and so when she met my older sister's father, it's not so much love, but you're looking for someone to rescue you. And bad just got worse, and bad got worse. And when I was 3, my sister Doreen told me I was 3 because I was describing the place. I saw my mother being sexually assaulted by her brother-in-law. And when the man that she was with, she she told him, I witnessed it. And this is the thing: children at a very young age understand. They see and they know. They don't understand everything, but you feel it in here.
Yes.
And so she said to the man she was with, she said, your brother cannot stay here. He was, and she described, and he said to her, I'll never forget this. What drop off a head, drop on shoulder, which both of them are going to share her. Next thing I know, my mother lives somewhere else. And my mother moved somewhere else. And I watched my mother. Me and my sister Vel was the little baby. She hold on to mama. I watched my mother being brutally sexually assaulted. I mean, my mother had really long hair, grabbed in the back of her neck, thrown to the ground. We still hanging on to her, and she was raped. And I watched that. It is hard for you not to scar. Remember, I told you children are repositories. So all of that comes. And that is who I am. And so I had to learn to trust, but the not trusting is stronger. And so I had to teach myself to be alert, but not to judge, because not everybody is a boogeyman. But a lot of men are out there. I'm not
So let me ask you real quick. This, after seeing all of that,
yeah.
where did this idea come from that everyone wasn't a bad person? Where did that come from?
So after I saw when my mother was brutally raped, because that's what it was. We moved again. And my mother, when I tell you, my mother's kind of faith is different.
Mm-hmm.
And she, we live in a place called Berwick in St. Catherine,
Mm-hmm.
and we live in this house. And she had a panel bed, and she would do domestic work, or she would sell, and she put money in the panel bed. The two bottom part, one side for me, one side for Vel, 1 cent, and she put maybe 5 cents at the top for her. And one night she was crying because she's always crying to God and say, "Why me? What did I do? What did my family do? Why am I suffering?" And she would start naming it. Um, I don't steal. I work hard. I
Mm-hmm.
don't beg nobody nothing. I don't trouble. And she was crying. And I wasn't 5 yet, but I was just learning to read. And Mama said, "Don't read Songs of Solomon." But I read it. I couldn't understand it, but I read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I read Job. So my mother was crying. And I said to, I couldn't read all the words, but I was reading Job, and my mother was crying. And I remember reading part about Job where Job's wife said, "Curse God and die." And I
Mm-hmm.
said to Mama, "Curse God. And look at
Mm-hmm.
all that he do to you. Curse him and die." And my mother said, "Jesus Christ, oh my God, no, 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 no. Beg God pardon, beg God pardon. You know what God wrought on you. Beg God pardon." Right away, she forget about herself,
Mm-hmm.
and she was worried for my little soul. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was really stubborn and I was very angry at her. I don't know. I cannot put into words what I know. I was angry at her because here I'm defending you and you telling me to pray to God.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the panel bed because she said I must pray, and I bent down. I knelt at the bed, but I wouldn't say nothing. And I kept saying, "I'm not praying, not saying nothing, I'm not saying nothing." And she said to me, "Oh," she said, "Jesus, have mercy upon our little soul. Lord, you know she don't understand what she said." She said, "Paulette, repeat after me." And she said, "God, please come into my heart."
Mm-hmm.
And that night, to me, my faith was born.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And yeah,
Yeah. You
and
know,
I know I wasn't 5 yet,
yeah.
because my sister Marvelyn wasn't born yet. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how I know the ages. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I knew but that night my faith was born. And so I'm not always strong, but I never lose faith.
Mm-hmm.
And I always go back to Mama. And I said, "Mama had faith. I watch her being faithful. She would cook yam seed. She would search the river, try to find a coconut, make something for us to eat. She would walk along the train line, cut the wild color and make it. Oh, it tastes good. So she always had faith.
Mm-hmm.
She,
Mm-hmm.
she would be crying. She would be asking God why, but I never heard her not have faith.
Mm-hmm.
And she had never lost hope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
There,
is it safe then for me to say that you knew there were other good people out there because your mother was a good person?
Yes, everybody, all of us are good.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us, I think, because we don't understand why we hurt. It is easier when you hurt to just lash out. But if you take a minute
mm-hmm.
to just understand why we hurt, and to understand that it didn't start with you.
Mm.
It did not start with you.
Mm-hmm.
It did not start with you.
Mm. Good job.
So,
Yes.
so just to reflect a little bit, and I'm kind of thinking about, the people who are listening tonight, the people who will listen months from now. And I'm thinking about, how you've said that, there are a couple of things for us to pay attention to when we're looking back at our past experiences. And one is just like you said at the end there, we have to recognize that we are not just we unto ourselves. We
Yes.
are also a product of the generations before us.
Way before us. Way before us.
And then the other piece that I really appreciated is the idea that even if, so for instance, you can really, from just talking with you, you really are able to track, well, I was this age when this happened and I remember this experience, or I was told this, and so from this information I know it was. But not everybody can do that. But you said something important, that kids, when we're children, kids now, kids in the future, no matter what kid we're talking about, no matter what experience we're looking at, we we can realize that even if we did not know something definitively, we know that we felt some kind of way about it. And what I'm hearing from that is that can impact us in two ways. It can
Yes.
impact us really negatively, where the experiences that we lived impact us in a way where we don't trust people when we're older and we don't even realize why. But it also can impact us positively in that here you had this experience where even though you experience your mom going through all of those terrible things that happened, you also experience her as a person of faith. And that allowed you to also be able to say, oh my gosh, there is purpose, there is meaning, there is good out there, no matter what. And I think that is so important for somebody listening to really be able to hear that. So, Paulette, what would you say to somebody? They're an adult now. They have been through some really traumatic situations as children. Maybe they're still going through some really traumatic things right now. What's something that you want to say to that person who's listening?
Mm-hmm.
How do
Um,
I keep going?
Mm-hmm.
okay. Here is you don't have to believe in God or a superior being or anything. What I know as a human, two thoughts cannot dwell in your mind at once. I am
Mm-hmm.
absolutely sure of that. You can choose which thought and you can fight it. I want to show you something.
Mm-hmm.
So I have here a vase and I just put some little pebbles in it. Can
Mm-hmm.
you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And these are your thoughts. Oh, woe unto me! I grew up in the project, and I'm black, and I'm in America, and I'm poor, and I can't be nothing. Oh, God give life. I have life right now. If you don't believe in no God, and you know what, I can do something. And you keep positive thought, and the negative thought will come, and sometimes process the negative thought. When did it come? When it come, what did you do? Did you
Mm-hmm.
eat? What did you eat? How about you jump rope? How about you sing or dance? How about you read a book? How about you listen to any music? Some music. Look, you see it? Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
And those positive thoughts. I am coming from nothing. Nothing. I went to school to about the fourth grade. And I realized that I don't just gonna have children with someone, and when it don't work, then I move to the next someone, and then we continue the cycle. Or I somehow find myself something and pull along the little nieces and nephews with me, or you just stay there, but you keep doing something, and every negative can be a positive. When I was growing up, they tell me, you ugly. Okay. But even though I don't go to school, when I do come, I go and borrow you pretty girl book and I go do my work and I take fifth in the class. And you
Mm.
pretty girl was still
So,
behind me and I borrowed your book with my
Mm.
whole self.
Aunt Paulette, so a liar told you you were ugly. That's, well, you've figured that out by now. But here is my question to you: where did that come from? Because what Kamala is saying is that many of us, I don't know if I'll lie if I say most of us, but many of us as adults um, are bleeding on. Look at the divorce rate. Look at the suicide rate. Look at the obesity factor. Look at all of the negative stuff that's happening around us, and you'll realize that most people are dealing with some serious issues. And you hit the nail on the head tonight when you said you can trace some of that to generations before.
Yes.
What I'm trying to get out of you is, how did you get here?
Okay.
When did it
So
click in your head?
so, you want to hear the strangest story? So, um, 'cause, 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 um, Growing up, we never had books because my mother couldn't afford books. So if you're walking on the road and you see a piece of newspaper, me, I take it up. My mama always have a rat ears Bible. So as soon as I could, I would either borrow a book or steal a book. And I stole a book, and it was called The Princess and the Pea.
I remember that story.
And the story of the Princess and the Pea is that nobody believed she was a princess. And so they would put a pea under 100 mattress,
Mm-hmm.
and she still got bruised. Guess what point themselves a princess? Me.
Hey, but where? How
And
did
I
you?
was about 7.
And
And everybody will tell you I cry quick. I'm quick to anger, but mostly I will smile. I won't say anything. If you could go in my head and see how I was planning. And so when I was real little, I would plan with my sister Vel because I was so young I did not know that my brother Henry would be an adult when I'm an adult. So I planned that I would take Velma and I would take Marva and Henry, and me and Velma, we plan how we build house and what we're going to do and what we're going to do. We didn't know they would grow up when we were adults because that's how young we were.
right.
But I appointed myself a princess, oh,
Mm-hmm.
my nose big, and and my last name is Griffiths. So you attach yourself wherever you can. Winston Fana Griffiths was the best jockey in Jamaica. Marcia Griffiths was one of the I trees, one of the best singers. My name is very uncommon, so I must come from good stock.
Mm-hmm.
My mother little and petite, and look, you get it where you can. Um, Marie Garth used to read the news, and our radio used to, like, I think 6 o'clock the news used to come on JBC, and my mother would put the batteries in the sun so we can listen to the news. It's not the news I'm listening for. I'm listening to hear you pronounce.
Mm.
Edward Siaga wife, Mixie Siaga, beautiful lady, very proper. She would carry herself a certain way. Oh, I've been in the bushes practicing all of that in my tear up clothes.
So
Mm-hmm.
let's.
Horses, ships, now warrior, and I take a little from everybody, just like I show you here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I got my first brand new pair of shoes when I was 17 that I bought for myself. I bought a pair of heels. Couldn't
So
walk it, I bought my bag.
I love it. So here's what I heard just now, and help me clarify. Here's what I heard just
Yes.
now. Regardless of what situation I'm in, as long as I can imagine, as long as I can dream, as long as I have a mind,
You want to
I
hear my favorite song? The Dream, the Impossible Dream.
yes.
Dream the impossible dream. You know
Yes.
what I also heard too, Paulette, that you're saying that we have a choice. We have a choice in
Thoughts.
terms of
Your
what
thoughts.
the thoughts and what we choose as our models. And as we were talking about how you looked at all of those different people, those with the same last name, or those radio personalities or
Mm-hmm.
TV personalities,
Mm-hmm.
I
And
found
Mama.
myself, and Mama, of
Oh, we
course.
heard Mama the petite.
And Mama. Yeah,
I
and Mama. Yep.
I found myself thinking about, because if we take it into the context of, let's talk about here in the United States where we are, where a lot of people of color don't feel like they have models to look up to, people who sound like them, look like them, have experienced the same things that they have, or don't have those family connections. But what you're saying is you can choose that. You
You
can
have TV.
choose.
Yeah, you
Yes,
have
you can
TV.
choose who to look
There's
up
this
to and
lady from
who.
South
Yes.
Africa. She used to say, I'll die with my dignity. I don't remember her name, but I remember that. And so
Mm.
growing up, I know I wouldn't have as many children as my mother because like, you can't control your situation. And
Mhm.
that's the only part of the song I know.
I
Yeah,
will die with my
yeah,
dignity.
yeah. I'll die with my dignity. That's the only,
Mhm.
and like, don't court me because in my mind, if you want me as a girlfriend or a wife, I'm not falling in love with you. I'm standing firm in love because God forbid something happen to you.
Mhm.
I need to take the reins. So if I can't take the reins, I don't need to be a wife and I don't need to be a mother. And that is what has kept me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Go ahead. Come
I,
on.
well, I was gonna say I want to find out now how you took these experiences and this life and turned it into something that is helping other people. But I see that we're at 9:41. Do we want to take a quick break to take that
Woo!
question?
Okay.
Let's take a quick break and then we'll tackle that question.
Okay.
So, Sister Sands, you have participated in her journey to healing, reaching people with a desperate cry. How was it?
Awesome. Awesome. It was a period like no other. It proved to me the importance of unlearning to learn. It was very enlightening, very burden releasing, and accepting oneself the way one was created, the way God intended for one to live.
Kamala just texted me and said time is going like lightning. This is good, Auntie Paulette, and
I
I
can
can
talk for days.
and I can tell this is good because no people aren't asking questions, so that tells me that
Engaged.
they're just listening. But Aunt Doreen said, in all her struggles, our mom never forgets that there's a God, and that's your sister.
Never.
That's it.
Never.
Let's.
Never. Yes.
Hold on,
Kamala
one
said,
more.
oh, I'm sorry.
Kenny earlier, Paulette dropping gems.
That's my brother-in-law.
I
Yeah.
couldn't leave that one alone.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Sister Belinda, for being on. We're really, really
Yes.
grateful. And Sandra said earlier, you're a strong woman, Paulette. Let's Kamala wants to switch gears now into how your childhood trauma became your strength for adulthood. So let's talk about that some.
So I recognize myself as a helper. I know I cannot save everybody, and you also have to
So
be
let me interrupt
careful.
you. Let me interrupt you. You started off by saying I recognize myself.
Yes.
Okay, can you just stay there a little bit? This idea of recognizing myself.
I firmly believe that others have been through worse than me. I recognize it in behaviors. Like when I was young, they called me school face. It was a defense.
Mm,
I was I was putting on a front to say, "Don't come near me, don't talk to me," so I wouldn't smile. And I recognize that. I recognize that many of the people who are gunmen, rapists, the other stuff,
mhm,
is that hurt that they might not even be able to recognize.
mhm,
And so I saw myself in a lot of people,
mhm.
and people find me easy to talk to, and I that part I don't understand.
Oh,
But
it is. It's
yeah,
like
Because you're easy to talk
it's 9:44.
yeah, I be in a bus and someone just tell me the whole stuff, and I'm like, because sometimes they don't want you to say nothing. People know what the answers are. They just want one person to listen and to see them and to hear them. I remember wanting to be seen and heard. That's all I want. I'll do the rest. Just see me. Just see Mama. See her as a respectable woman. And that is what I work with. That is what I use. I always try to see the person as if I am that person.
Mm,
Just walk in the shoe for a minute, as if. My one of my friends a while ago, she said her daughter said, "I have to go to medical shoe school because as a mother, you don't have no shoe for me to walk in." My mother was a non-reader. My mother's shoes is too big for me to ever feel.
mm,
And so, but I walk in my mother's shoes. I stuff it and walk in it and
mm,
learn from it and learn to understand from my mother's hurt, how to see people. Because you know about Jahari Win, the people they show stuff that they themselves sometimes don't know that they're showing.
mhm,
And I know I show stuff that sometimes I don't know I'm showing. And so I try to be I try to be humble because I'm not humble. I'm not. I'm full of myself. I'm proud of my achievements. But I try to remind myself who I am, why I am here, and I'm a helper. And when you're a helper, just help. Just help. No questions, just help. You know, helping can mean listening. Helping mean passing a plate of food. You know, yeah. Just help. Male or female, animals, mosquito. Help.
So you chose to use your trauma to become even more empathetic.
Because it makes you understand more.
Mhm.
You understand more. Um, when we were growing up, we'd be hungry, and Mama would say, "Don't take anything from anybody." When I was a school counselor in Jamaica, I never stayed in my office. I would stay under a tree or just walk the schoolyard because the children who are hungry are not going to come to you because they don't want their friends to see. So I make conversation with people. Um, my biggest achievement as a school counselor was to remove the free lunch list and the free lunch line because nobody don't need to know because it hurt. And I remember you getting the burger and it slapped like a burger in the plate and how embarrassed you were because you get free lunch so you maybe get gravy. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
when nobody knows,
Mhm.
they have to share all the food good because they don't know who get the free lunch.
And that empathy comes from knowing what people would have gone through.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is who I am. From Mud and it's the Beatrice Smith.
You know, I,
Let's.
I really appreciate that you shared that you highlighted just that change in schools because a lot of schools have adopted that same idea because it can be
It's embarrassing.
shaming for
Yes.
kids to have to go through that experience, and it's not because of anything that they've done. So why put them in a position to where they have to feel blamed
And
for
then
things
you
that
have
they
the
have done?
behaviors in the class and you wonder why the behavior. Because you shame them.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
So
yeah,
now them have to show to them a bad man. Or they
yeah,
can fight the most. That's
yeah.
why.
Because we
That's the
shame.
root cause. That's the root
Yeah.
cause. That's the why. You answer the why
Don't
right there.
shame children.
Mm-hmm.
Don't. I hear that loud and clear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We only have 10 minutes. Purpose. When you realize now that there is purpose for you, how did that propel you? Where did that take you to?
So you cannot have purpose and just have a dream with you can't have dream of purpose and then just sit dreaming. Knowledge is important, and if you want to be an effective helper, you need to be open to knowledge, you need to be open to training and learning.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I did. I went and got training.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to be open to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're teaching, you have to be open to be taught.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm telling you the two thoughts can't dwell at once, um, then I have to try to live that. And when I fail at that, I have to acknowledge that I fail at it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then you keep going. But you have to get formal training because
Mm-hmm.
you can mess people up
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to walk around as a counselor giving advice.
Mm-hmm.
You want to listen.
Mm-hmm.
You want to
Yes.
listen.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
have to know
I
your own
listen. I said,
story.
So as you go ahead, Kamala.
No, I was thinking about what you said about two thoughts can't dwell at the
mm-hmm,
same time.
mm-hmm,
And I imagine that there's some people, I get what you're saying, but I
mm-hmm.
imagine that there's some people who are going, Paulette, what do you mean? I have 1,000 thoughts running through my head all day long. What do you mean two thoughts can't
Concentrate
dwell
on
at
one.
once?
Concentrate on one. This is because as a school counselor, I like to use soccer in America, what we call football.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. I build a goal post. I build a goal post down here, goal post to the other side. You in the middle, you kicking the ball. Where you say you want to go now? Oh, you plan to go to nursing school? Okay, I have a graduation cap up here. what are the steps, and we go from today.
Mhm.
We go from so 4 years down the road, you want to graduate. The graduation gown is down there. What are you doing today?
Mm.
And no matter what, focus on. So you may have to go CNA class first.
Mhm.
Go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
might go CNA class and you have to leave and go Walmart.
Mhm.
Go. But remember, you have a goal post.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. And that
Mhm.
one goal is to be, and but you have to be realistic though. Because
Yes.
are you good at math? And if you're not good at math and you want to go nursing school, are you humble enough to go do some remedial classes?
Mhm.
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 It's
Talk
not a
to us,
detour.
Auntie.
It's not a detour. It's just that they
These
they
are the
they um
steps.
the football gone to the other side. So somebody
Mhm.
about to score a goal on you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so go get some remedial class.
Mhm.
Stay focused. People
Mhm.
will tell you you cannot do it.
Yes.
You hear them. When you hear them, that's another wrong and another because you have to prove that you can do it.
Mhm.
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 And over time, if you start to think enough, you believe enough, so you don't have to be reminded from outside because it is now inside.
Yes.
You're
So,
now a little kidney bean and you're sprouting inside now. Here
Mhm.
mhm.
you are now. And like me, I curse, but I pray. But sometimes you can't pray. You have to just, oh God, have mercy upon me. I can't do nothing. That's all you can do. And find a way to you drive. When you driving, don't take no call. That's your time and space to
Mhm.
gather your thoughts,
Mhm.
write stuff down,
Mhm.
and the negative. And sometimes you have to explore the negative thoughts.
Yes.
Mhm.
Explore it.
There's a couple of things that you're saying that I really just kind of want to
I
highlight
know.
again because it's so much good stuff. So if we want to go all the way back to the beginning, know your why, know your history as best as you can, know your why. How does your history
Yes,
impact you today? Looking forward, being intentional. If you've got a
yes,
goal, be intentional
yes,
about the steps to
yes,
getting there. And those steps might
yes,
look like I need to look at my thoughts. Why do I
yes,
think about things the way
Mhm.
I do? I need
Mhm.
to look at what I'm doing. Do I
Mhm.
have the resources available to me to get to the goal that I
yes,
want? If I
yes,
don't have the resources readily available, what can I do to get them?
yes,
And so that I put things in place, I'm intentional, I'm purposeful because I'm looking at all of these things and I can get to those goals if I do those things. That's
I have a question that I want to ask Aunt Paulette. How do I enjoy the journey? So I'm trying to get to being the nurse. I'm trying to get to being the. How do I? Because it's hard. Let's.
yes. It
How
is
do I?
hard, but as you're going, find others. If you can't find God, if you don't have God or you don't believe in God, find others to lean on. If you can't find a human, find a cat. You in America, go to the animal shelter and find a cat or a dog to rub. It soothes you.
Hmm,
Have a plant.
hmm,
If you are able to lean on someone, lean on others. But allow someone to also lean on you.
hmm,
mhm.
'Cause I,
hmm.
let me and I am telling you what I've lived. When I decided that I wanted to learn, my son, I realized he was gifted and talented. And so I went to St. Joseph Teachers College first. And the lady just about laughed me out of the college because I didn't have the credential to go into college. So, okay, thank you. So I said, well, Micah is a bigger college, and that's the one I'm going. So what I did, I went to Micah Teachers College evening class for a whole year, but
Mhm.
evening class start 5 o'clock. I was there from 10 in the morning because I'm watching the students. I going into the student library, but it's evening class you're going. Um, it's equivalent to GD here. I was doing
Mhm.
my GS
GED.
um, not CXE, the other one, the British one,
GCE.
GCE. And
Mhm.
I would go watch them in their uniform and dream that impossible dream. I look in the books, I hear them talking, I try to join in the conversation. And so by the time the year was finished, when I was done even class, I could see myself there.
Yes.
I could see my, and in even class, you had the pre-trained teachers, teachers' assistants,
Mhm.
and I'm watching them. Oh, so if she can get 60, and you know you start like that, she gets 60, I get 50 or 45. Okay, I, I go find out why I get 45. And so I went to Michael during the day, read some more because I had to catch up because I went to school about the fourth grade. I had to catch up. I
Mhm.
caught up because you have to have the mindset.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have the mindset, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yes.
And it might be embarrassing. I remember when I asked the English teacher, Michael, if you say furniture or furnitures, and the whole class laughed at me. But guess what? A lot of them didn't know either.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
I have a similar experience. I know
yeah,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. There's this cartoon called Courage the Cowardly Dog. You
Yeah. Mhm.
And if y'all don't know what I'm talking, go on YouTube, go find it, and you be courage.
Yeah.
That's
The
right.
courage is shaking with his little rotten teeth, but I'm telling you, he going.
Doing it anyway. Yep.
Yes, yes. When you can't
Mm.
find nothing else, be courage that cowardly dog.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I something that's coming to mind. Do it scared.
Mm.
Yes.
Do it scared.
Yes.
Even if you're afraid, no matter what, you got a
And
goal, you
praise
have a dream.
yourself. Don't forget to praise yourself. Your mother never hug you. Okay. Hug yourself. Want me to show you out?
There you go.
There you go. That's a
Hmm.
warm hug. Girl, you beautiful. Girl, you gonna be all that and some. You think you can't walk properly? Put a book on your head. Practice by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And be courage that cowardly dog. That's me. It works.
So we have a couple of great
I'm
comments. I want
speechless.
to. We have a couple of great comments
I
that
knew
I
this
think
was
we
gonna
want to
be good,
hear.
but my gosh. Go ahead, mom. I'm sorry.
So I don't want you to miss some of the things that people have been saying as we've been going along, Paulette, because this has been such a good conversation. Earlier, when you were talking about just being able to be there for somebody else, empathizing with somebody else, Taryn said, "Thank you, Anake. Sometimes that's all people need for you to see them and hear them, and that is so important." Then she also said, "Helping can be offering a shoulder with no words
Yes.
necessary."
Yes.
And these are really true things. Desiree, later on, you were talking about, making those intentional steps, practical steps, realistic steps towards your goal. You can't just keep on dreaming. You have to now become proactive. Put those dreams into
Yes.
reality.
Before
Yes.
before you read the next one, Kamala, here is something that I heard clearly from my aunt tonight.
Hmm.
There are no shortcuts. It's
No.
hard
Right.
work.
No.
It is.
And you
There,
will feel like giving up. You
mm,
will. And when you feel like giving up, I remember I have this niece named Carrie Ann, then I have the same birthday. And one time she was like 2, 3. Somebody said to her, so you know Jamaican, what you want to be when you grow up? This little girl gonna say, I want to be like Auntie Paulette. When I tell you I stood at attention, and even now, when I want to cuss somebody and walk off the job, I know she's watching me. I'm
Mhm.
absolutely sure she's watching me. Somebody's watching me.
mm,
Somebody's watching me to see how I do it, see how I cope. And I love Carrie before that, but she's one of my reason. She Because she said I want, and I'm looking because in my mind I'm nothing. But if a little girl want to be like me, And I am trying to break the cycle of what I grew up in. I have to stand up.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell her, no, don't be like me. Okay. Okay, let me sit up straight. Yeah. Yeah. It's so many twists and turns, but there are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. Yeah. But
Next week,
celebrate every little achievement, every little one. Mhm.
Next week, Monday night, we have John Hall. I'm really looking forward to that conversation. Tonight, we've been talking to Paulette, and it has been uh, healing. Healing.
Yeah.
Um, I'm walking away from this with there are no shortcuts. There are no excuses. If you don't have a family name, attach yourself to something. Watch television and be willing to attach yourself to something.
Yes.
Don't let your talent be buried out in the graveyard.
Yes.
You have purpose. There's a plan for your life. Aunt Paulette, thank you so much for hanging out
You're
with
so
Paulette.
welcome.
I know you're busy, and for you to take this time out for us, we are extremely, extremely grateful. Thank you so very, very much.
I'm humbled. I'm humbled.
Oh, we're humbled and
Share.
grateful. Thank
I'm
you so
humbled
much.
to share. Thank you.
Anna Kay, who won?
All right. Drum roll, please. Thank you all so much for your contribution, for chatting. Oh, is that Kenny Gilliam? Is our first? No, not. Yep.
Oh, it is.
Kenny Gilliam, our first winner. That's what's up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think we have 2 books to give away. So let's run it again one more time, Anna Kay. Let's see who our second winner tonight is. And if you won, it's because Glennis Smith. Yes. All right. All right. Congratulations to our winners.
Here is how
you claim your prize.
Yes.
Go ahead.
You have to go to our website. Now, 4 people won last week, and I think we only sent off 1 gift to the best of my knowledge because 3 other people didn't. Go to www.kwministries.net and just click right up at the top. I was on the website earlier today, and I saw it right up at the top, and it has it claim your prize. Click on that, fill that out, and okay, will get in touch with you, and we will get your prize off to you. On Paulette, my father-in-law is down there saying very good discussion. It was a wonderful discussion. I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. And something that you're doing that I know you're doing, that I'm doing, is making sure your daughter doesn't experience any of that.
We're breaking the cycle. We're breaking the cycle.
That's right.
That's what we're doing now. We are breaking the cycle.
That's right. But then not only are you caring for your daughter, you have other family members that you're bringing along. And so we're just grateful. And thank you for talking to us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody, thanks. Anna K. Fagan. None of this happens without Anna K. Fagan.
Thank you, Anna K.
We want to publicly say thanks to Anna K. We're so grateful. Marla gets the last word.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us yet again for another Monday night with KW. Don't forget to join us next week. It is always a pleasure to be here. And
thanks, Belinda.
Next time.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.